What's my day like as an illustrator, a writer, and an independent publisher? Come on, I'll show you. Hi, all, I'm Dave. Thank you for joining me here on my very first vlog. So, why, after all this time, I decided to do a blog? I didn't know if anyone would be interested in what I do in my daily life. I mean, it's pretty boring, really. I get up, I work, I do what everybody else does, and then I start all over again. I always felt that the work should speak for itself, and that would be enough. But recently, somebody pointed out to me that I needed to go a little bit further and step out in front of the work and give people the opportunity to connect the illustrator with the illustrations. Like most first films, this is going to be an origin story. So let me tell you a little bit about myself. I've been a freelance illustrator for over 30 years, and I've done almost everything there is to do in illustration. Comic books, storyboards, toy design, concept illustration, licensing art, you name it, I've probably drawn it. And I've had a lot of fun doing it, working with a lot of wonderful people. But around the time of the pandemic, I came to a crossroad in my career where I wanted to focus more on projects that would make me happy and feel fulfilled. And in the back of my mind, I knew that children's book illustration was where I was supposed to be. So why children's books? I've loved children's books ever since I read my first one as a child. I loved the stories, the creative freedom, the passion that goes into them. They spoke to me, and I knew I wanted to contribute to that world of storytelling with the same kind of passion. And I knew I wanted to create something that would last forever and hopefully bring some joy and some inspiration, opens the imagination to whoever reads my books. Well, stuck at home with no freelance work coming in, I took the time to try and find my voice as a picture book illustrator, rebuilding my portfolio, and setting out for the next chapter of my career. As the pandemic wore on, I spent that time trying to find my voice or illustrative style, but it was trial and error. It was a lot of false starts, a lot of dissatisfaction, overworking it, over rendering, thinking more would be better, but more was just, I don't know, more. But then it hit me. How about less is more? How about taking my illustrative style and distilling it to only what the story needs? Taking what I've learned from comic books and storyboards and translate it into children's books. Using dynamic storytelling with bold color and graphic design. Well, a few years went by, and I started getting work with a few independent authors, getting a few picture books on my belt, which is great experience. And I was loving the work I was doing. I was loving working with the people who I was creating these books for. But in the end, it's still freelancing, creating stories based on the vision of others, which is good. It got me a lot of experience, but I still have my own stories I wanted to tell and share with others. But breaking into the world of traditional publishing, trying to get an agent, that turned out to be a lot more difficult than I imagined. So as time went by and, I wasn't getting anywhere with mainstream publishing, I decided to give myself a deadline. And by a certain time, if I felt I wasn't able to break in, I knew I had to decide how to go forward. So, of course, deadlines come and go, and my deadline went. And with my missus' encouragement, it was time to take a leap of faith. I knew I had the abilities to produce a quality product. I have 30 years experience as an illustrator, and I'm pretty good at it. And with today's self-publishing tools, I knew I could do it myself. So that's when Two Bridges Publishing was born. So what exactly is Two Bridges Publishing? Well, Two Bridges is a promise that I made to myself and to others. Two Bridges brings a unique voice in what I feel is a very crowded room. And my goal is to take what I've learned over the past 30 years of professional experience and make children's books as enjoyable as possible, while at the same time make them as polished and professional as possible. Because I believe that my books can compete with anything you would see on today's children's bookstore shelves. I'm making stories that children will want to read and reread over and over again. And hopefully it will inspire them to pick up a brush or a pen or a pencil or learn how to dance or play piano and be creative as well. I want to give back the inspiration that I received growing up to children today. And I'm in an unfortunate position to be able to do that. I think the most challenging part of producing a book, especially for children, is the writing. It has to be a story that kids can comprehend, but at the same time, you have to respect their intelligence. You have to ask yourself, Who are we creating these books for? You have to get to know the parents who are buying the books for their kids because they are the first gatekeepers. For me, at least personally, creating the books is the easy part. But being the writer, the illustrator, producer, and publisher, oh wow, that's a lot of hats to wear. And just trying to maintain your social media platform, which these days is vital to getting the word out about your book. Emailing clients, newsletters, managing and budgeting for a marketing campaign, which I gotta tell you, if you're not careful, can get very costly very quickly with no guarantee of returns. But the most daunting task of all is just trying to sell the books. That's hard. Well, earlier in this video, I said I started all this because I made a promise to myself and to others. And one of those others was my father, who, when he wasn't working for the New York City Board of Education, wrote children's books. He had a few titles out, and early in my career, we discussed working together on a few projects, and I was very excited about doing that. But unfortunately, he got sick and passed away. And we never got to work together on any projects. And so I guess I'm continuing the journey that we both started together. And as I said, I made a promise to his memory, really, that I would continue. And hopefully, if he saw what I was doing today, he'd be very proud. I gotta tell you, I am thankful every day that I get to do what I do. Though the dream has had to reinvent itself a few times over the last couple of years, at its core, it has stayed the same. And I haven't felt this excited about doing what I'm doing since I was a kid starting out in comic books. If I can pass on one piece of advice for anyone who wants to pursue a career as any kind of creative, it's this. Things are going to get tough, and you're going to have some rough days, and you may just want to quit, but don't. Maintain your passion for what you're doing. Your passion for the work will sustain you. And when things don't go your way, take a breath, take a break, and then get up, dust yourself off, and continue going forward. Because going forward is the only way you're going to get better and make progress. Well, everybody, thank you for staying with me to the end of my very first vlog. If you like what you saw and you want to see more, please feel free to leave a comment below and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Bye for now.